going on, everybody, and welcome back to a very sweaty Frankie's Aquatics right here on the sweaty platform that is SweatTube, YouTube. If you're within the UK, you're probably going to be sharing the frustrations of this heat. As you can see, I is a ginger. I don't like the heat, it cooks me, and yeah, it's just not very fun. It makes life a lot more difficult. So this week's video is going to be an update video, but it's also going to be a few little tips and tricks to help you try your best to keep your temperatures low in your tank and your axolotl happy. If you've all had a fantastic week, do let me know how you've been coping in the comments below. It's been water change after 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 water change and another water change. That's how it's been for me. So, shake it off. Shake it off. So this week's video is going to be an update video, but it's also going to be a few little tips and tricks to help you try your best to keep your temperatures low in your tank and your axolotl happy. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the juiciness of this week's video. I'm going to do that thing again, so come on, let's go this way, come on. So I have covered this topic many a times in previous videos, but since we're in the middle of it, I get a lot of panicked people messaging me going, help me, it's too warm and I don't know what to do. So I'm going to show you a few extra little tricks that you can try. They're not guaranteed to work, but they're most certainly worth trying. So the first thing you're going to want to do is keep an eye on those temperatures. Don't always rely on the little thermometers that you stick on your tank. Do invest in a little gun like this. It's a bit like the Ghostbusters. Do invest in one of these, they're great, and they will give you good, accurate temperature readings. You can also set them to Celsius and Fahrenheit, and they got a nice little bleep to let you know when they're working. They're really handy. The wife absolutely hates this. I drive her mad with it. I go around the house like I'm shooting everything, checking everything's temperature. I'm everywhere with it, but you're going to have to invest. You're going to have to invest in a thermometer. This is obviously a digital thermometer with infrared and all that funky stuff. Not that expensive. You can pick them up online, but it's just your it's just your certain way to get a very accurate reading very quickly. I'm going to wait there dipping things in the water and looking and giving it a shake like a Polaroid picture. You can just go around one of these, point it where you want to point it, press it and get an accurate readings. For example, 31 degrees. My goodness. So do invest in the right sort of equipment. Now you've got the right sort of equipment and your equipment's telling you that your temperatures are really high. What can you do to challenge that? How can you tackle this? Right, so without going over the things I've already talked about, here's a few new tricks that I've been trying just recently. Some of them have been okay, some of them not so much. I'm going to share them all with you anyway, because they might turn out to be pretty helpful indeed. So the first thing you might notice is I'm in a bit of a dark room today. That is because I have literally kept the curtains closed. Every morning when you wake up on a nice hot day, it's tempting to do like they do in Disney movies and go, "Oh, hello world," and welcome the sun into your house. Now, that's not going to help with your temperatures. If you let the sun shine straight into your living room or wherever else it might be, the heat is going to slowly start to creep up as the sun hits the room. So the first thing you want to do is keep the curtains closed. That way it keeps the sun out, it keeps the humidity. It also helps with the humidity, and it pretty much does make a little bit of a difference. If you think about it, if you open your curtains and crack your windows open, which is your instinctive thing to do when it's warm, you go, "Whoa, get that door open," or "Whoa, get those windows open," or all that, because we don't have air conditioning over here, or at least the majority of us don't here in the UK anyway. So we rely on windows. So we crack our windows open, we open the curtains, and we try and get a bit of a breeze coming through the house. Now, although the logic behind that kind of makes sense, unfortunately, what you're going to do is you're going to actually bring the heat from the outside into the inside, and you're going to cause all sorts of aggro. So the best thing you can do is keep the curtains closed. Keep your curtains closed and crack your windows, but only ever so slightly. You don't want to bang them all open and have your curtains blowing in the wind. It'd be like a scene from Total Eclipse of the Heart. It'd be so romantic. Don't do your axolotls any favours, don't do it. The next thing you might notice is the lights in the background aren't actually on, so all the lights, keep them off. Even if they're energy saving lights, eventually, when they're on for a long period of time, they're going to produce some form of heat. Even the ring light that I'm using right now, eventually, if I leave that on, it's going to produce a reasonable amount of heat. It might only be microscopic in comparison to the big lights. Put big lights on, but it is still going to be a source of light and essentially a source of heat. So keep your lights to a bare minimum. As you can see behind me, I usually have all these lit up for the nice video to make it look pretty. All turned off today. The lights are off, but they are home. That doesn't work, does it, the other way around? No. Electrical items that don't need to be powered on, even on standby, just turn them off. Lights, TVs, anything you might have that don't need to be on, switch them off, because believe it or not, they will contribute to the heat of that room. The next thing you probably want to try, this is another good one that I've tried before and it has worked, but only on a temporary basis, is hanging cold sheets at your window. Bear with me while I explain this. So if you soak a cotton sheet that you put on a bed, like a bedspread, soak it in some water, gently fold it up the best you can. Doesn't have to look too pretty. Put it in a bag, pop it into a bag, pop it into your fridge or even your freezer, and leave it for a good couple of hours, and then hang them up at the window. So where your window frame is, hang them over. And basically what that will do is it will repel the heat. So when the heat's trying to hit the window, obviously keep the curtains closed as well. But as the heat's trying to penetrate your window and obviously get its way through your curtains, it's going to be met with a cold surf, which is eventually, it's gonna for a short time anyway, it's going to repel the heat. The heat's going to actually leave the house. And then what will happen, the heat that is produced, that's coming through the windows naturally anyway, will be substantially cooler. A little trick that I've had best success with, to be perfectly honest, I've just recently started doing this, and it does give the better results. It's not foolproof. You've got to look out for the fact that obviously if they're soaking wet, they're going to obviously produce water. You don't want them dripping wet. You just want them wet or damp. Pop them in the fridge, pop them in the freezer, and then hopefully they'll help drop the degrees in the room significantly. But again, it's only a short-term fix, but it's better than a kick in the teeth. It's better than a gold kick in the teeth, isn't it? Another trick that I recently read is if you have a fan, like a cooling fan that we have, like you have in offices and stuff like that, obviously, eventually what will happen, you pop them on yourself, it's like, oh, it's lovely. It's so nice, and it is lovely. But eventually what happens when the humidity in the room starts to rise, what will happen is all that fan will do is circulate warm air. It's not a very practical way of doing it for a long term. Short term, again, lovely. Long term, not so much. The little trick that you can do is if you have like a baking tray or any kind of ceramic kind of tray, bowl, whatever you want to call it, of a substantial size, if you broke ice into there, chuck your ice into it, pop it in front of your fan, angle your fan ever so slightly down at the ice, and what it will do is it will blow cold air into the room, and it will also help with the humidity again, because humidity does hold a lot of heat. It kind of holds the heat in the room, and it kind of that horrible stuffy feeling when you're not directly in the sun, but you can feel it. And you're like, oh, I'm melting. That's the humidity getting the better of you. So the ice trick with the extractor fan will absolutely help drop the humidity in that room. Believe me, we all need it. The Britons are in the middle of a heat wave and it's driving us all mad, or at least us gingers and axolotls. We're all going crazy.
Our headlines today: a health warning as the UK prepares for a weekend heatwave. Today could be one of the hottest days on record.
So that's a few little tips, just something I thought I'd chuck at the beginning of this video just to share with you all, on the hope that it may just help some of you out there that are experiencing this crazy heat and are struggling to keep your tank temperatures down. Now, of course, there's loads of other methods that I've shared in previous videos, so do be sure to go check out my channel, where I've absolutely flooded my channel with ideas on how to keep your tank temperatures down. So do be sure to go and check those out. Now, this week I want to talk about a few things that are happening over at Frankie's Aquatics and hopefully kind of introduce you to new things that we're working on. So I was that close to doing a second video for this channel, a second video a week. I really wanted to do it, but I also kind of have to take into consideration that it's very time consuming. It's not as simple as sitting there talking to a camera and then releasing it into the wild. I have to edit the videos, I have to make sure they've got some juice about them, they've got a lot of obviously watchability, and I have to make sure that they're edited correctly, and it's all me doing that. So I thought about doing a second video, and then I thought better against it because I didn't want to wear myself too thin too quickly. So what I've decided to do instead is I've decided to start my own podcast. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Not only can you see this big ginger face once a week, you can also hear him as well. So if you go over onto Spotify and most of the other podcast kind of devices and search for Frankie's Aquatics Out of Water, that is the name of my podcast, and there is one episode already up and on there. So go and check it out. Frankie's Aquatics Out of Water is available right now, so do be sure to go and check it out. I had really good fun with it, and I hope you enjoy listening to it too. It was a lot of fun, and I've got so many cool plans with it. I've got guest appearances on there. We're going to be talking about all different sorts of things, not just strictly axolotls, loads of different subjects, which hopefully you guys will enjoy too. So fingers crossed you'll enjoy. Just see what I did there. To quickly go. Fingers crossed, can't do that with one hand. Fingers crossed that you'll enjoy the content, but do let me know your feedback. And if you want to get involved in the podcast, you want to be a guest, or you think they want to ask some questions, or you've got some advice that you'd like to share, or anything in between, again, doesn't have to be exclusively axolotl related, then hit me up on frankiesaquaticsuk@gmail.com, and that is where you'll find me. And maybe we'll be able to get you over on the podcast. Don't worry, no video, just all audio. But let me know if you're interested. Also have some rescues that are going to soon be available. We have this guy called Rocksteady, who I'll show you to in a moment. He's an absolute stunner, an absolute brute of a wild type. He's a beautiful dark wild. An absolute really is a ripper. He's a right old ripper. I'll introduce you to him in a moment in the video. He is up for adoption, so if you are interested and obviously based within the UK, do get in contact and I will share the relevant information with you as and when you can reach out to me, because obviously unfortunately I can't provide anywhere outside of the UK. So kind of want to do a bit of a help me. I've never done a help me before, but I really want you to help me. So for those of you who know me on a personal level will know I'm a massive fan of the Irwins, a huge Steve Irwin fan. Now, I'm not on the scrounge, I'm not trying to look for anything for free, but I want to ask my audience if you can help me. I have the two Funko Pop collection figures. I have the Australia Zoo exclusive, and I have the standard edition, which is Steve Irwin with a crocodile. I am desperately not trying to do it I'm not trying to flip it for a profit. I want it for my own collection. I am desperately looking for the Steve Irwin Chase edition, which is Steve Irwin with a sea turtle. I've looked everywhere I possibly can in regards to the UK, and I'm having no luck whatsoever. We're not without paying a ridiculous price. I don't want to pay the earth for it. It is just going to be part of my collection, and I'm probably, when I get all three of them together, I'm probably going to pop them up here. See what I did there? Pop in a box, pop. I'm probably going to put them up in the background at the back here. So if you do happen to have one and you're willing to probably sell, or if you know someone locally, you can get one wherever you might be in the world, and obviously it doesn't change the prices too heavily, do please let me know. I didn't want to have to do this and go, please help me, but I actually need your help. It would be really grateful if you could help me out, because I'm having a great hard time of finding it. Again, I'm not trying to get the collection to sell them. I never sell anything like that. I always keep and collect. I'm a bit of a hoarder, to be quite honest. And if I have the three together, it'll quite possibly be one of the only sets. Oh no, apart from Wee Bear Bears, I've got the set of those as well. but it would quite possibly be the only set I've ever really chased. I don't really chase sets. I kind of keep them. I just get them as gifts mainly. But I really, really want the Steve Irwin one. So if you can help me out at all with the Steve Irwin Chase Edition, which again, to clarify, is Steve Irwin with the sea turtle, then please reach out and we can talk and I'll hopefully sort something out with you. And just to kind of talk about the rescue side of things and the Frankie's build that we're working on at the moment, obviously with the whole lockdown thing, everything's kind of hit the pause button right now. I would like to say we've got plans in place and there's going to be this and there's going to be that and there's going to be A and there's going to be B and C and D, but unfortunately because of the whole lockdown everything's come to a grinding halt. It is slowly starting to pick back up and things hopefully will start to progress once again, but for right now unfortunately it is kind of at a bit of a standstill. But believe me, Frankie's Aquatics is still going to be doing its thing, and Frankie's Axolotl Sanctuary is still going to be the whole thing that we're going to be working on outside. It's just taken a little bit of a detour. It's took the scenic route, shall we say. But as soon as I have more information about where we're going with that, you guys will be the first to know. So as always, thank you so much for your support. My Frankie Lottles, thank you all so much as always for supporting the channel. We had a bit of a climb and a dive with those just recently. I guess it's just one of those things. But if you want to be part of Frankie Lottles, which is Frankie's Patreon, you'll find all the relevant information below. And it's going to be either the next month, if not mid-month, the month after, where the lucky bags are going to hopefully be distributed. I've spent a little bit of a small fortune on a few little gadgets and gizmos to kind of say thank you to my Lucy tier of Patreons. So hopefully you guys are going to appreciate the little things that I've done. So you'll receive a handwritten letter by me and a few little quirky gifts and gizmos. Not an actual gizmo, that's, you can't ship a gizmo because you can't get it wet. But hopefully you'll enjoy the ideas that I've been working on. I've had to really, really restrain from kind of showing things off. I've just realised there is something in this shot right now that's part of that I might have actually given away throughout the whole video without realising. Anyway, on that note, thank you all so much for stopping by and checking out this week's video. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit that like button. It just lets me know that you enjoy the content that I'm currently producing. Also hit the subscribe button because that will keep you in the loop whenever I upload. And also ding that notification bell. And until next time, ta-ta for now. Woohoo! I would just like to give a huge shout out to my Frankie Lottles, my Patreons, for the amazing support that you always show. If you want to get yourself involved, you will find all the relevant information directly below. I think it's trying to actually kill us. That big ball in the sky, it's actually trying to kill us.